heritage, our tradition, our future. Today, we become...
In this episode of Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools Rugby, we bring you a special feature on grey rugby in the USA. Grey High School in Port Elizabeth and Grey College in Bloemfontein are two of South Africa's great all-boys schools. Both schools are named after the former governor of the Cape Colony, Sir George Grey, with Grey College being established in 1855 and Grey High in 1856.
The Grey College, Grey High Interschools is a very special one for us. It's one of our traditional interschools fixtures of the year, and we are certainly looking forward to a very exciting weekend.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think historically they've always set the standard. I know things are possibly changing of late, where other schools nationally are getting stronger, but historically and traditionally Grey Bloom have always been the number one as far as I'm concerned, and always a nice test.
Ahead of Saturday's annual encounter between the schools, Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools Rugby brings you the special feature on grey rugby in the USA. One of the men making an impact in the USA is former Grey College, SA Schools and SA Under-20 star Peter de Haas. The Silky fly-half come centre enjoyed a successful professional career with the Lions, Bulls and Cheetahs, and is now head coach of the Arkansas All-Stars high school team.
The state of Arkansas never had a rugby team, a youth rugby team or a successful youth rugby team. We took some of the football players, guys that have the same kind of skill level and same kind of love for a contact sport. And the main thing is they realized the opportunities that rugby creates for the boys. There's so many colleges playing rugby with rugby programs and good rugby programs in the US. It literally changes people's lives.
Peter's son, Ruben, is a third-generation rugby player, following in his dad and grandfather Gerard's footsteps. The 17-year-old scrum half has already been capped for the All-American high school team, as well as the USA Under-20s.
I think Ruben is just an example of a player that is making the most of the opportunities that rugby present in the US. Guys like Salty Thompson, Michael Engelbrecht, J.D. Stevenson, the opportunities they create for youth players. Ruben was lucky to get picked up.
USA Rugby's offered me a lot of opportunities in the U.S. and also outside of the U.S., like college opportunities, being able to go to college, and also out of the U.S., going to Tour de France in Belgium and to Canada, and now coming to South Africa to practice with the Cheetahs, which is giving me a lot of opportunities.
Grey College has most famously produced 44 Springboks to date, but they have also delivered one USA Eagle in the form of Andre Blom, who played 13 tests for the Americans at the turn of the 21st century. The former international outside back has fond memories of his time at the Bloemfontein school.
You know, the inspirational factor is that Grey was associated with the standard of care or standard of play at Grey that was always really high. I had a coach, Pio Corky, who did track and field, and everything he taught me and was involved with really helped us excel on and off the field.
Blom is now involved again with rugby as coach of the Illinois High School state champion New Trier Rugby Club.
First and foremost, there's a gentleman, Leo Sheridan, who revitalized the club. And so just looking at his passion for the club and the program as a whole and kind of re-energizing the club again was the first level of inspiration. And then secondarily, watching the kids, like kids that pick up a rugby ball for the first time and play and score a try and they're happy and excited and things like that. That's really, I think, what's kind of a recurring inspiration to stay involved with the game.
Two Grey High old boys, Sean Potgieter and Giovanni Falco, are both actively involved with rugby in the US. Potgieter is a former player and now head coach of Arkansas State University, whilst Falco plays for another famous college, Lindenwood. Perhaps the greatest boost to the game of rugby in the USA will come through the form of the Olympic Games. Rugby is to be reintroduced to the Games for the first time since 1924, when USA in fact won the gold medal. Both Grey College and Grey High have produced several Springbok Sevens players over the years.
Yeah, I think for every sports person in his career, it's only a dream to compete in the Olympics, and hopefully this year will be a dream come true, not only for the South African guys, but I think a massive step for Sevens rugby in competing in the Rio Olympics.
The growth of Sevens as a whole has been amazing, and I think it's something to actually look forward in the future as well.
Got the perfect bounce.
Nico du Plessis, a Grey College old boy and founding member of Premier Interschools, now lives in the USA, where he helped launch the youth rugby program in Greater Atlanta.
Along with two friends, Don Pretorius and Clint Lowe, through our passion for rugby, we wanted to give back to the game that we all loved. And we started youth rugby this winter in Atlanta. And the key differentiator were really two things. It's really around our coaching philosophy that we promoted. It's create space, pass the ball, and play running rugby. And that's in line with the Grey coaching philosophy, along with all the Premier Interschools of South Africa.
We had a great partnership with AYR, Atlanta Youth Rugby, Anthony Forbes-Roberts, and Paul Rayo, along with Don Pretorius, were real big help for us. We launched that from a really young age. One of our big success factors this year was using and getting parents involved, along with tackle football coaches.
We have 8 high school programs. Our program grew to over 500 youth, all the way from elementary school to the high school area. We even have our PE teachers, what didn't know anything about rugby, now coaching rugby during their PE sessions.
I like playing all sports, but rugby you get to run with the ball non-stop. And I love how you could play it anywhere with anybody, and that you could play it globally and meet friends everywhere.
The Seattle Seahawks, Super Bowl champions in 2014 and runners-up in 2015, are renowned for their big-hitting defensive unit, the Legion of Boom. The key to their success? Rugby tackling, something which has aided the success of the Atlanta Youth Rugby program.
Since they've adopted the rugby tackling 3 years ago in the NFL, they now the best defensive team in the NFL with the least concussion. And concussion, of course, is a huge deal.
It's the way that international rugby players have been playing the sport for decades. It teaches them to protect their heads, and you're going to see over the years, I'm fully confident that the techniques the kids are learning in the youth level will slowly progress throughout the collegiate level and even into the pro level of American football.
From the medical aspect of it, I was quite surprised when I joined the rugby team that most of the players, or all the players, are actually taught a really good fundamental of how to tackle, how to hit, how to fall.
Rugby is the fastest growing team sport in the USA, something no doubt boosted by the 2014 visit of the world champion All Blacks to Soldier Field in Chicago.
The awareness has grown significantly, but still a long way to go. The inflection point was really with the Olympics, when rugby got reintroduced into the Olympics the first time since 1924, with NBC now behind rugby, televising college sevens, mainstream. A great example was when the All Blacks played the US Eagles at Soldier Field in Chicago. 90,000 people capacity in that crowd, and that was televised live on NBC right in the middle of college football season.
I think they started their first pro league now, which was really exciting. So the growth of rugby in the United States of America is amazing, and it's all around the world, and I think it's something to look forward to. It's also something to be nervous about if you think all the countries are actually catching up at a fast pace.
Newly elected CEO of USA Rugby, Dan Payne, has special memories playing against South Africa during the 2007 Rugby World Cup.
We had a turnover ball, and Taku Ngwenya started to round Brian Habana on the outside, and I was probably 15 or 20 meters away at that point, and I thought for sure he was going to get tackled, and that was going to be my offload there, and then Taku just continued around, and probably by the time he got to the try zone, I was 40 meters away or so from him, but that was a great experience.
As new CEO, Payne's vision is to continue to grow the game at all levels, with a big emphasis on youth rugby.
And we just need to continue to grow the game at all levels, from the youth all the way up to the national teams. You know, and that starts with the youth. I think there's a great movement now to where there's a larger number of youth and middle school and high school players that are playing the game. There's a lot of opportunities for players from abroad to come here and get their education and combine it with excellent rugby, and it's actually something that's growing exponentially.
Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools Rugby itself attributes some of its origins to the United States.
The Premier Interschools concept, originated in 2008, was really inspired by the US college football model with the significant history, heritage and tradition. During that time, myself, Gary Swart and Derek Kutzer introduced it first to the top schools in South Africa in 2008, and by 2010 we partnered with MegaPro, with Tian Strauss and George Rothenbach, and we officially launched in 2012 in South Africa.
There's been such a strong contribution from the South African expat community in this country around youth rugby, and it's just amazing. I've learned more about all the high schools in South Africa just because it's something that people share so much pride about when they talk, you know, about where they grew up, and it's something that we want to try to emulate here as much as possible.
For the first time since 2013, Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools is proud to once again bring you the Grey High versus Grey College match. The Bloemfontein school has enjoyed the lion's share of victories between the two schools, but 2016 sees them return to the Phillip Field in Port Elizabeth, where Grey High claimed a famous win in their previous encounter in 2014.
I'm expecting a big encounter. Grey College are going to give everything, and we're not standing back for anyone. We're going to give it our all as well, and we're really excited for this game.
It's always special playing against Grey High from PE. A lot of history in their school as well, and yeah, we count ourselves lucky to compete against one of the best.
Today, we stand for all that is, for our heritage, our tradition, our future. Today, we become.
Watch Grey High versus Grey College in Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools Rugby this Saturday, live on SuperSport.